Did you ever just not want to get out of bed, stay under the covers, turn off your notifications and forget about work, school, any and all responsibilities? Well, the Chinese government is terrified of this. You're constantly told of China's meteoric rise, the speed at which China's cities and infrastructure grow, the incredibly long working hours expected of Chinese workers. Perhaps you've heard of 996, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. This is true. I've worked jobs in China that required a 6-day week. I've seen it, I've lived it, but things are not quite what they seem beneath the surface. Something has changed. Urban Chinese people who grew up in the 80s and very early 90s in China saw a tangible change from poverty and a backwards lifestyle, a harsher quality of life, into the relative comforts of a modern society. And people had to work for it. Put in the work and get the reward. Unless, of course, you were government connected, because then you didn't need to do anything. What if you didn't know a harsher quality of life? Being born into a society that no longer has as many visible hardships on the surface. Being a single child due to the one-child policy, which guarantees that not only your parents, but 4 grandparents focus on and ensure that you get whatever support and attention they could possibly afford to lavish on you. This would leave you in a completely different situation and mindset from only a generation before. After graduating and trying to enter the job market, you quickly realize that you're fighting a losing battle. Most entry-level salaries are a joke. Pressure from your family to get married and have a child in your early 20s is severe, but housing prices are ludicrous. Even with the help of your family, how are you supposed to afford to buy an apartment, raise a family, and support your aging parents all on a pittance? Why even bother? Why not just give up and lie flat? So what is this lying flat thing? You've probably heard about it. Well, my good friend and stand-up comedian Lola Farley actually did a fantastic segment on this, so over to him.
不要看着它风平浪静，苏联当年也是一夜之间就结束了。对，所以我们希望把它压制到10年以内，甚至几年。对，现在的年轻人已经躺平了。年轻人已经躺平了。
The word he just said, 躺平, literally means lying flat. Tangping has emerged over the last few months as a rallying call of Chinese millennials who have had enough of the rat race. It reflects a disenchanted middle class with little to no hope for the future.
对未来失去信心，不再拼命工作，对生活不再反抗，混混日子。
Tangping主义, or lying flatism, rejects the attitude and behaviors promoted by the government to keep the Chinese economy running. Working 70-plus-hour work weeks with no overtime, marrying early so you can start pumping out kids and offset the burden of an aging population, or taking out a crippling loan on a home that isn't actually yours. Personally, I feel like Tangping has a scent of rebellion to it, an apathetic take on saying, "Fuck it to the grind, I'ma do me and just hashtag live my best life." Unfortunately, the CCP ain't down with that, so they took down all Tangping-related discussion threads, deleted the original manifesto posted back in April, and scrubbed the internet of all lying flat groups. Chinese state-run media followed up by rebuking the movement, saying that while people are allowed to resign themselves to misery, they are not permitted to lie down.
认命可以，躺平却不行。
i.e., your pessimism cannot affect your productivity.
You hear that, boy?
而且我觉得其实05后、00后让我想到文革那个时候下乡的那一代人，就是最后他们要跟国际劳动市场竞争的话很难，
很难，
对吧？
对，很难。现在已经完全没有任何希望，因为我们00后、05后，我们不知道历史，我们不知道有64。我们的房价1000多万，我们的工资4、5千块钱。
既得利的这一派，对，他们希望下面的韭菜们能够不要躺平，对，所以他们可以躺赢。
对，要好好的干工作的奴隶，对吧？
对，努力给我打工，
对，给我打工，
让我割你韭菜。
农场主要过得更愉快的。
对对对。
所以那些小粉红和战狼们，我真的觉得很矛盾。对吧？国家的未来，他们是很积极，会告诉你，中国强大了，正在 在崛起。从微观的角度说自己的未来，他是很不乐观的。
他们以为自己的命运就是国家的命运，其实国家没把他当
人，
自己人。对。
If you haven't already, I suggest going to subscribe to him. His content is fantastic. Links are down below. The Lying Flat Revolution was started by a single blog post, a manifesto, so to speak. It mainly resonated with China's current university graduates. A generation spoiled not only by growing up not knowing the hardships of their parents, but also having never wanted for anything due to the aforementioned one-child policy. This lying flat phenomenon can be summed up in one word: apathy. Luo Huazhong, the so-called father of the lying flat movement, he's the guy who wrote the initial blog post and manifesto. He spoke about how he didn't find any value in joining the rat race. Just lower your expectations, lower your goals, take your own time, chill out, live a frugal lifestyle, and coast on by watching the rat race from a distance. As the term lying flat started to gain traction on the Chinese internet and more people started to resonate with it, the government quickly took notice and frantically fought back, scrubbing the original article and all mention of the term lying flat from the internet. China's censorship machine is fast and effective, and now all mention of lying flat has been erased from the Chinese internet completely. The fear of a silent apathetic revolution by the CCP is very apparent. Already facing a massive demographic crisis, imagine what would happen if the shrinking working age demographic decided not to work at all. Well, it would be a complete disaster, one that the CCP is frantically trying to avoid. One can see this because of their latest attempts at a three-child policy. This is a big indication that they know they're up shit creek and are desperately searching for a paddle. The thing is, this idea of lying flat is actually not a new one. In fact, the philosophy of guo rizhi, or simply pass the day, has been present in Chinese society for a long time, especially within the lost generation. The generation that grew up during the bad days of Mao Zedong and his awful policies. The old Red Guard and their peers. They too are prone to apathy. So, as the generation that built China starts to age, and the younger people see diminishing returns on their hard work, will we see this sort of silent apathetic revolution of disenchantment grow? Time will tell. Only time will tell. I just wanted to give a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you who have watched this video and who watch my videos. Doing what I do, talking about my experiences in China is a risky business, and I'm constantly under attack. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much, and you know the drill. Until next time, stay awesome.